Good morning. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Gabs, one half of Slip Slip Sis, and welcome back to another Craft With Me vlog. I am pattern testing for my sister. She has a pattern called the DK Mixed Medley Socks coming out whenever I finish this test knit. So it's all on me. Thus, I'm gonna get started. I am casting on the, I guess, size medium, so the middle size, but I'm mixing it up because I'm using fingering weight yarn when it's obviously a DK pattern because I usually knit the small size in DK weight for my own feet. But if I knit the medium size in fingering weight, then they're small enough to fit my grandma. So I'm going to give her my 2 pairs of socks because I have to test 2 patterns for my sister. The yarn I'm using is Koigu, which I got at the Uncommon Threads, which is a yarn store. They do a yarn swap every year. So I got it at the yarn swap, so I got it for free. It's a lovely orangish color. It's like orange and got some purples, got some speckles. It's really pretty. I washed the yarn because I'm allergic to cats and I didn't know where the yarn came from. Potentially it was a cat household. So I washed the yarn and the yarn bled significantly. The water was super orange when I washed it. So I'm not sure. I don't know that much about dye and what dye is hard to wash out and what dye breaks strangely or not. In my experience with knitting, I've had red yarn dye my feet and then green yarn dye my feet. So I'm not really sure though, because those are different, right? So it's fine. I washed it. I get more sad when it is indie dyed yarn that I paid a decent amount for that I end up having to wash again because it's bleeding so badly. Which I know there's always like dyers do their best to try and do that. We've had a couple skeins though that bled really, really significantly. I was like, you probably should have noticed this because even when you're touching it, it was coming off in your hands. So there's that. But that's all right. So I'm gonna get started casting on medium size. There are 3 rib options that I have to go with. I have to do 2 of the 3. I can't remember which one I was assigned to that Shaylee told me to do. So now I'm going to text my sister and be like, so which rib was I supposed to test? Because I forgot. This is the perk of testing for your sister, that the relationship between tester and designer is not as precarious, I guess. I've talked this before about tester burnout, that I've been having a bunch of tester burnout, mostly because of the relationships and how difficult I've been finding it to like navigate my own anxiety in asking questions about patterns and how like tests are set up and that kind of thing. So I've been really struggling with it, but I like testing for my sister because I can just text her and like flat say what I mean instead of having to like couch it, because I don't want the designer to think I'm thinking that the pattern is bad or thinking negatively of them, and I want them to think negatively of me and all this anxiety. But it's my sister. It's fine. We'll fight in the future. So I'm like less worried about being like, so I forgot what cuff I was supposed to do. Sorry about that. So yep, I'll have to text her, go on a little bit of a morning run, and hopefully get a lot of knitting on it done this week. I'm taking it to school with me today because it's mostly state testing, so our schedule is pretty broken up and I have very long breaks between things today. So hopefully I will get a lot done. See you later. I am on the foot of the first sock for Che. So far so good. The pattern's been great. I only caught one like mistake, but it's not really a mistake. The pattern would have read fine without it. It was just like a further clarification. And then a note for Like, you could add this. Both of them were like to add more clarity. The pattern would have been fine without it. I messed up on the heel flap because it is a I have partridge, so I had trouble counting it. So whoops, my heel flap is slightly shorter than it's supposed to be. Not the pattern's problem, my problem. So that's fine. I'm just gonna keep going with it because I can't stand I have partridge, and I knew that going in, that I didn't like it, but I needed to test it. But yeah, so doing that. Today is Tuesday. I am hoping to finish the first pair of socks this week. I have big plans. I have like 3 socks that I'm supposed to be working on getting started. I have this, like, I've whipped down, so I have like no real whips that are like long term. I have the Battenberg blanket, which I'm going to start working on today. The solid colored squares. And then I have 2 like ongoing granny blankets, and then these socks, and that's kind of it, which is not that many considering 3 of the 4 whips I have are like long-term projects, I guess. I just finished my 2 large blanket projects, which feels really great, but now I have I'm like plagued with indecision on what to cast on next, because I want to cast on like 50 different things. But I don't want to like have a million whips again. Like, I don't want to just cast them all on. So I think I'm going to try and do like alternating, like pair of socks, other thing I want to make, pair of socks, other thing I want to make. So I don't know. I may also knit some socks 2 at a time, because I really struggle with second sock syndrome on being interested in the second sock, because I'm like, ugh, I already know what this thing looks like. Why do I want to knit the second sock? That's boring. So I may do that, but we'll see. I am trying to get these socks tested so that my sister can release her pattern, because she's only just waiting on me. So hopefully by the time this video is out, I will have started the second pair of socks, which means my sister can release the pattern. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye. Okay, so I finished sock 1 of Chaley's test knit, and I really messed up. So this was 100% me and not the pattern. So I was knitting away, knitting away, and then I get to the toe, and I'm starting to do decreases, and it's an umbrella toe, and I'm like, this isn't working out, but like, it's a fairly simple toe, so the pattern should be fine. And then I count, and I was supposed to have an equal number of stitches on each side, so I cast on 48. So that meant if I started with 48, by the end of the sock I should also have 48, or by the toe rather, right? Because that's how it works. I'm not giving away any trade secrets. It's how most socks are constructed. So but then I get to the toe, I don't have 48, I have 54. I did not do enough gusset decreases when I was knitting them. I just stopped. I was supposed to decrease down to 24, and I didn't. I just 30 seems good, but I counted, and in my head I counted correctly when I counted my gusset decreases. I don't know what happened, and I didn't even notice. I just kept knitting away. So now I have to knit the other sock with the same mistake in it, so it'll fit properly, because if I have one sock with a foot circumference of 54 stitches and one sock with a foot circumference of 48 stitches, well, that's not gonna, the socks aren't gonna match. But Chaley's pattern is fine. I had to get fancy with my decreases for the toe, but the pattern worked out fine. So I have finished that. I have complained my whole way through the Eye of Partridge heel. I don't know why, but like, I physically resist it. I had to start the heel flap yesterday, and I was like, I don't know how to do this. And it's not any more rows. It's not any different set of stitches, but I was like, I don't know how to do this. And I called my sister to complain too. I was like, Shaylee, I started the heel flap, and she automatically goes, I'm sorry. Because we do not like Eye of Partridge. But the cool part about Shaylee's pattern, it's like a mix and match pattern. It's called the DK Mixed Medley. So like you can pop in like a different cuff or a different heel or a different toe, which meant we had to test out more than one heel flap. So that meant we had to test out the Eye of Partridge. So I did that. I'm on sock 2. I'm on the foot. Yeah, I'm on the foot of sock 2. So I cast on sock 2 and then cruised through it. Yeah, so I went through it super quick. That was super easy. And then hopefully finishing today to start the next pattern, like the next test. There are 4 textures for sock. So yeah, there are 4. I tested out. I'm testing 2. Chaylee tested the other. So Chaylee, I believe, has made 6 renditions of her mixed medley. I'm making 2. So that'll be 8 times we've tested it. I haven't decided on what sock I wanted to use. I thought I knew, and then that yarn wasn't bringing me joy, so then I stopped. Because I'm really trying to use up the yarn that I've got in my partial skein. I'm feeling, once again, kind of overwhelmed by my stash. It's just a lot of yarn. I'm at about just over 350 skeins. Ideally, I mean, my ideal goal is to have I have these cubbies. I've got those like IKEA cubbies. Mine aren't IKEA though, mine are Target. But like the 3x3, so it's 9 cubbies. My goal is for all my yarn to fit in those cubbies. But they currently don't fit in those cubbies. Now, mind you, let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those cubbies do not have yarn in them. 1 has candles, 1 is laundry, is hand washed laundry, 1 is whips, 1 is fabric, and 1 is project bags. So I only actually have 4 yarn cubbies. So that's not that bad. My goal is to fit all of the yarn into those 4 cubbies, because I currently have a bag of yarn in the garage, 2 bags of yarn in the closet, and 3 bags of yarn under my desk. So my goal is to not have all those bags of yarn other places. Yeah, that's the goal, is to not have them in other places other than in the cubby. So that's what I'm working towards this year, which probably means I need to be under 250 skeins of yarn to realistically fit into those cubbies. So that's looking at another 100 skeins of yarn. And I did the easy thing and knit all the mini skeins. So that means all the mini skeins have been used up, which is much faster, obviously, than full intact skeins, which is now where I'm at. So it looks like I've made a lot more progress than I actually had. Granted, the mini skeins take up a lot of space, but yeah, so that's my goal. I'm really trying to stash down this year. It's gone not that great. I get about 10 skeins in a month, which when you think about it is a lot of yarn. Yeah, because that'll be about 120 skeins throughout the entire school year. So yeah, but alas, I'll continue working on it and it will be fine. So hopefully I finish Shaylee's sock today and cast on the next one soon. See you later. Okay, I finished pair 1 of Shaylee's test knit for the DK Mixed Medley Socks. They came out actually pretty cute. I really enjoyed the sock pattern on them, but I don't like Eye of Partridge, so there's that. But I've decided on the yarn for the next one, which is going to be universal yarn held double. So it's going to be, I think one is bamboo pop sock, and then one, no, it's uni merino, and then another one that's colorway is called butterfly. Shaylee knit something out of these already. Mostly I realized, I guess my gauge has changed since I've been crocheting, so now I have a tighter gauge, So what I used to be able to do isn't working out right now. So I have a tighter gauge because I've been switching off between knitting and crocheting, which is super interesting. And I've never, usually like in my past crafting, I've either like knit exclusively or then crocheted exclusively and then went back to knitting exclusively. And now I'm like actually pretty consistently trading off between the two and doing both most days. So I think it's tightened up my tension while I knit, which is actually a good thing, because if you've watched for a while, you know I have super tight tension. So, or super loose tension, sorry, and nothing ever fits. And I usually am going down multiple hook sizes or needle sizes. So it's better, but I was surprised that that happened. I am gonna start the twisted rib pattern for Chaylee's socks, so that should be good. Hopefully I'll finish it soon because she's just waiting on me to finish the pattern, and then she can release the pattern because we've tested it multiple times. I'm in the process of writing up another pattern, and I started working on sewing some yarn cozies and I'm really liking it. And yeah, so I'm considering opening an Etsy store for the yarn cozies I've been making, mostly just because I have too many, and they're cute and I want to give them away, but I don't want to pay for shipping to give them away to everybody because shipping is expensive these days. So I'm looking at it and I'm doing a business plan with my students. So I might run the business plan and see what is a fair price on them and what I can make, and it'll probably be super sporadic if I update stuff. I'm considering Etsy mostly because I know I won't be that consistent. So Shopify, I know my understanding is it's a monthly fee for it, and I know I won't be updating enough to cover the monthly fee or anything like that. And I know Etsy has listing fees and stuff like that, but it seems like a good beginner platform. But if you have tips, advice, all that. All right, I'm off on a long run that I haven't been able to do basically all week because I just had preschool super early, so we have to get up early. Then it rained, all those things. So I'll see you later. Okay, I have started my second pair of socks for Chaylee's test knit, and I totally messed it up again. I didn't understand what pattern she had asked me to do. Like, there are 4 textures in the pattern, and I didn't understand which one she had asked me to do. So I just decided that I knew what she was talking about, but I didn't. So she asked me to do the twist texture. But one of them has like twisted stitches, like knit through the back loop, and one of them has what looks like what's a twist, but looks like is a mock cable. So in my head, that was a cable pattern, and then I was like, well, I guess the twisted rib stitches look most like a twist, so I guess that's the one she wants me to do. So instead of asking for clarification, I just started to do the wrong one. And then I sent her a picture and she's like, that's not right. And I'm like, what? But luckily, I mean, it's a mixed medley, so I kept the cuff because I didn't have to redo that. And then I just ripped out like maybe 12 rows of the leg and then redid it with the one I was supposed to do. And the one I'm supposed to do is actually a more mindless knit than the previous one. So that's what I did. I am using Universal Yarn. They sent Chaylee and I think they call it like an influencer box, but it was basically a sampler box of a bunch of different yarns of theirs to try out. We've knit other things with it. We've done YouTube videos with it. I knit my grown-up steeklings with one of their yarns and their offbeat yarn, and then I knit a headband for our Knit Killies challenge with a different yarn. I made a hat with their light long tweed DK, and then Shaylee made a pair of socks with the same yarn that I'm using right now. So the same yarn that I'm using right now is Uni Merino and Philly held double. So Uni Merino is just like a solid tonal merino fingering weight yarn, and Philly feels like a lace weight yarn, and it's kind of like it's like self-striping marley. So I'm holding them together. Shaylee knit something and I liked how hers looked, so now I'm doing mine that way. It's hurting my hands a little bit because I didn't go up a needle size. I'm using US 1s on what's essentially like sport weight yarn. So it's hurting my hands a little bit, but the gauge is too loose on US 2s. But it's a quick sock, it's a quick pattern, so it's fine. I'm almost at the toe. I'll probably hit the toe today, which means the pattern test is officially done when I finish them. And then pattern will be published shortly. Actually, probably at the bottom of this video, you can check out the DK Mixed Medley Socks. And we're doing a collab with Mad Cow Mandy, which is awesome. We love Mandy. She does so much fun things. So I will let you know how the rest of it goes. There have been many mishaps on me making these socks. None of them are the pattern. All of them are me. But I'm a lot looser with it because it's my sister's pattern and she's stuck with me. So, I mean, the worst thing that happens is she tattles on me to mom that I knit her sock wrong, and no, she's probably gonna tab out something else anyway. So, anyway, thanks for joining me. I will catch you in the next segment, I guess, and hopefully the socks will be done. See you later. I reached the foot of sock 4, so it's the final sock that I need to make for the pattern, and I think I might run out of yarn. I'm holding the yarn double, and I think I'm going to run out of my solid pink Uni Merino. I don't know how it happened because it looked like a lot. Did I weigh it? Of course not, but I don't know. So I may run out of yarn. It's a game of yarn chicken, which I don't know. I don't mind it so much. I'm sure I have a solid pink that I can pop in and go along. That'll go right around next with it. I also have done like administrative end of getting the pattern published. I created the Ravelry pattern draft. I linked mine and Shaylee's patterns to it. There are 8 project patterns already, and I reached out to Mandy of Mad Cow Mandy Designs to kind of follow up on the like pattern workbook that she's creating for this pattern, which I think is going to be super cute. You should just check out her Etsy shop anyway. She's got lots of cute stitch markers. She's got some patterns, as well as like she has workbooks. She was a Sock Week sponsor for Nitty Natty Sock Week last year, where she was like a journal, so you can keep track of your socks. I've done one of her like finished object journals. They're super cute. So highly recommend just checking out her shop anyway. Lots of different covers that you can pick from, all of that. So hopefully I finish the socks soon. My hands are kind of hurting from the like weight of the yarn because it's a little, the gauge, I should be using US 2s, but if I do, the gauge will be too big. So it's hurting my hands a little bit, which I partly think is why I'm knitting slower, but that's all right. I'm on the foot. I have, let's see. So the way I count it is I have 16 twists that I have to do, and I think I'm on like 7. So I'm more than halfway. In my head, I'm more than halfway. I realize 7 is not halfway of 16, but it includes the heel flap and gusset. So, and that takes me longer. So in my head, I'm more than halfway. Realistically, actually only halfway. So hopefully I can finish today or tomorrow, and then finish my test knit obligations. We have a new pattern out for you soon, and yeah, it's a beautiful spring morning. I'm loving not having to be freezing cold. and like shivering. Granted, I do wear the same thing, regardless if it's 55 degrees or 40 degrees. It's a good teal, as my sister would say. All right, talk to you later. Bye. I ran out of yarn. Gotta go find some more. Uh-oh. Finished this pair of socks. It came out super cute. You can see that I did have to play yarn chicken at the toe. I ended up just holding the other one of the yarns double with itself when I ran out of the solid pink, but it's done. They came out cute. I really like them. This pattern should be released no later than May 1st. So check out the pattern. Thank you so much for following along with me in my test knitting for my sister.